is Tony Marino. I work with Fidanza Family Properties, this 23 marketing group. I'm going to turn it over in a second to the gentlemen who really lead this catering and event industries that will be speaking on behalf of the industry today. Behind us, you see representatives from the catering and event industry from as far away as Long Island and, of course, throughout the Hudson Valley here as well. This is a statewide issue that we're looking to address here today. So I want to introduce the owner of Villa Venezia and the principal of Fidanza Family Properties, Franco Fidanza.
Hi, thank you guys all for coming out and supporting us where we need some support, and we have come together to basically ask and to find out some questions and answers from Governor Andrew Cuomo and New York State of where we stand and what's going on. I joined also with Bonura Hospitality Group and other local catering event venues, as well as those around the state that are asking for guidelines and timelines for the reopening of our businesses. Right now we are all in limbo, and right now we have no direction of restarting our businesses. We have employees, vendors, managements. We have awaiting answers that we can't get back to work. We need to get back into business. There's a lot of vendors out there that are utilized by us that are looking for our support as well, and everybody's at limbo at this point. Catering event venues were not included in the phase 4, which started yesterday. And yet still we have received no answers to the state as to where and when we're going to open. It has been over 4 months since we've had a wedding or an event here at the Villa Venezia. For some other places, I know it's been even longer than that. We understand these difficult times for everyone, but we also feel our industry is being neglected by the state at this time. Earlier this month, New Jersey opened up their capacity to the outdoor seating, which is gatherings of to 500 people. That means people can drive literally 20 miles from here in Sussex County and have an outdoor wedding to accommodate up to 500 people. Here, we are able to have outdoor parties that only accommodates 50 people. That is business we all are losing to New Jersey at this time. Restaurants have been approved to open with 50% capacity indoors. We are similar to dining establishments, but have some social challenges, like dancing, to deal with. We welcome specific guidelines for New York State. We're ready to get back to work. I would like to introduce some of our friends and partners here in the catering business. I want to introduce Joe Bonura from Bonura Hospitality Group.
Thank you. I'm Joe Bonura Jr. I'm here today representing my colleagues in the catering and event industry, as well as our thousands of clients who need answers. The private event industry represents approximately $5 billion, that's with a B, in revenue in the state of New York, spread across approximately 2,400 venues. Each of those venues has over 100 people on average in terms of employees. New York leads the nation in event spending, with weddings in particular leading the way. In 2020, this year, our family's 4 venues alone were slated to cater 660 weddings. That's over 1,300 families, when you consider both sides of the family, coming together for one of the most important days in their children's lives. We were forced to close in March, and we've spent all our resources and time trying to get to an anticipated phase 4 reopening, which was yesterday. At this point, we still have 327 weddings scheduled between now and the end of the year, most of them in September and October. The wedding industry is significantly different from other businesses that are still waiting to reopen, and that the amount of time it takes from when the client first meets with us and the planning begins until we execute that wedding is 12 to 18 months or more sometimes. There are thousands of couples across the state who move their weddings from the spring to the fall and are now in limbo wondering what to do. Once allowed, we can't just open that same week. Our clients need to send out invitations, they need to organize guest lists, They need to coordinate with photographers and DJs and florists and their dress and lots of vendors. All of this takes time. It's at least 8 weeks minimum before the event. So that means our September couples are trying to figure out what to do right now in July. So where are we? The state put out excellent guidelines for the food service establishments in June, but then later added a limit to social gatherings of 50 people, whether inside or out. This was confusing as all of our venues are also food service establishments. But what exactly is a social gathering, and what does this new rule mean? After some time, we learned that if guests are coming for the same reason, there's a 50-person limit. Meanwhile, restaurants operate with no hard limit as long as tables are 6 feet apart and they're under their 50% capacity. Graduation ceremonies are allowed in New York, up to 150 guests. Unlimited numbers of protesters can gather and chant shoulder to shoulder. As Franco said, 20 miles from here in New Jersey, outdoor gatherings are now allowed up to 500 people and indoors up to 100. Meanwhile, this virus doesn't know if it's 20 miles away or right here. We all did our part. We flattened the curve. We socially distanced. As the governor said, we accomplished the impossible. We went from worst to first. But now we need to move on in a safe way. There is a safe way to host weddings, and as an industry, we submitted a responsible plan to the state, but we've not heard back as to what they think of our plan yet. However, love is not dead. If licensed food service establishments are not able to host weddings this fall, the weddings won't just stop. People will have weddings and receptions in their homes and their backyards. We know this because we field these calls every day at our venues. People want to get married and get on with their life as a couple. And we are here today to stand up for love. But we need your help. We are calling on the thousands of couples and families out there to reach out to the governor's office and demand answers. Our clients have been calling us, all of us, and our local officials every day because we answer the phone and they know that we're here for them. But we don't have the answers. Make no mistake, the state and the governor have not had an easy job navigating this pandemic. But now we've made it to this point, the thousands of wedding couples in New York need to unite and demand answers so that they can plan for their future and we can reopen our businesses. The way I see it, there are two choices. There's a safe and responsible path forward by allowing licensed establishments to safely host events following mask and other social distancing rules, or keep the 50-person restriction in place that don't apply to our neighbors in New Jersey and watch all the private parties go on this fall uncontrolled. No contact tracing, no designated safety monitors, no one to watch out for overserved alcohol, let alone masks and sanitizing services like we would do. We aren't asking for 500 people. We need 150, just like the graduations. We can do this safely, we can do this together. Now I'd like to ask our Town of Walkville Supervisor, Frank Fidanza, to come on up, please.
Thank you. We do live in troubled times, it is true, and certainly it has been a labored process to get to this place, but we have made great strides, as witnessed today in the governor's speech this afternoon, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. But the sad reality is that the path has been hard and sometimes very confusing. And the simple reality is that the town of Walk Hill suffers if our businesses suffer. And so I would implore the governor too to also look clearly and concisely at the mandates that they let loose to us so that they can be inclusive and so that we can eliminate that confusion and so that we too can all benefit from this new day as we move forward. Thank you.
And I want to introduce the Orange County Executive, Steve Newhouse.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to thank Franco and Tony for putting this on and getting us together. We've been trying to do this for a couple weeks now. We've been told by the state, pump the brakes, don't do it. We're working on it, but we're all very frustrated. Back when this started in March, we were told, push the weddings off, push all events off a few months. We're way past that date now. We need guidance. We need to know what we're going to do for the future. What do we say to the brides, like Joe Bonura said? Let me give you a case in point of what Joe Bonura is talking about and what Franco's talking about. Last weekend, 4th of July weekend, Saturday night, town of Newburgh, 911 call to a woman at a party, over 300 people, out of control party. Woman needs help. She fell, needed to send EMS. We send an ambulance there. They were pushed away from the crowd. That would not happen at a professional establishment that the men and women behind me represent. We had to send police in to escort this person to get help. And it happened in other towns in Orange County over the weekend. People are going to continue to do these things. In the next few weeks, I have authorized Orange County to have festivals, certain areas. We're taking festivals that have been canceled in other counties throughout the Hudson Valley. They have to be done safely. If they're not, I'm going to yank their permits. We're moving forward. Some of the people that are around here today were at a meeting with me and local law enforcement to talk about doing our air show. It's going to look different. The weddings are going to look a little bit different, but they'll be done safely. But we need answers. We need guidance. I will tell you, this press conference already got the attention of the governor's office. They called a number of us on the way here to say, we're going to get that guidance out to you. I think they will. I think this gets their attention. But we need to be on par with our neighboring states. Like we were told early on, Connecticut and New Jersey are going to go along with New York. They've left us in the dust. So we need to get caught up. We need guidance. We need to move forward. I want to thank all these guys and their employees for what they've endured. A lot of them, won't admit it now, have been providing food to emergency responders as well as families that have been laid off through the duration of this. So I thank them for that. I thank everybody for showing up, including the press that's going to get this message out. Thank you.
We'll open it up to questions. Before we do that, I just want to introduce a few dignitaries, and certainly they're available to speak and answer questions, whether on the side or in front of them. Our Orange County Legislator Steve Russell is here. Walpole Town Councilman Mark Coyne. You've already heard from our Town Walpole Supervisor, Frank Fidanza. Steve Newhouse as well. Franco and Paula Fidanza from Fidanza Family Properties. We also have Michael and Joe Bonura from Bonura Family Properties. And we have other representatives of facilities as far away as Long Island, here in the region as well, and also employees from those facilities that are here today. I also wanted to acknowledge Amanda Dana, who's our Director of Tourism here in Orange County, who plays a key part in helping to promote venues like this as well. So I'll open it up to questions to the meeting. Please.
Do we know approximately how many weddings have had to be rescheduled at the facilities that you represent? Do we have a hard number in terms of dollars, in terms of the amount of money that's been lost? Do we have a number for the county, how much in tax revenue has been lost as a result of this postponement?
So I'm Mike Bonura, Joe's brother. I can't speak for the entire county. I can only speak for our facility.